Hello, everybody, to session 11, Pass Around the World.
Our today's special guest, beautiful Emily. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being on.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for creating this, really. I mean, anything to get more people aware that access bars exist, it's wonderful. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
So before we start with our interview session, Emily, I will ask you to just give a short introduction of yourself, please.
Yeah, so I am a certified facilitator. I've been so for I think about 8 years, been playing with the access tools for about 10, and then working with the company of Access Consciousness as well. And I wear many different hats in the company, but one of which is pretty applicable to this conversation, is Gary Douglas gave me the title of Worldwide Kitten Herder, which basically means that I get the honor of working with all of the kittens, meaning all of the facilitators around the world. And right now we have almost about 10,000 between bars facilitators and certified facilitators and body process and facelift. So that is one of the many places I play, but it's one of my favorite like groups to work with, because really those are the people sharing the gift of bars around the world. In like over 100 and I think facilitators in over 110 countries, access in over 175. So it's like, it's magic and it's really fun.
Sounds
thank you.
So cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The first question.
Okay.
What was the reason for you to choose consciousness or the access bars?
Oh, good one. I love hearing people's stories like this because they're so varied. I actually found access bars after the birth of my second daughter. We had a sort of traumatic birth. We both physically ended up fine, but I had planned like the perfect home birth, and it ended up like where they had to knock me out for an emergency C-section and stuff like that. And I had truly thought I had messed her up for life.
Yeah.
So in the process of trying to, in total judgment of myself as a mother, she had it about like 6 months, a rash like all over her body. And someone said, oh, it must be what you're eating. I mean, I was trying everything. And so I went to a woman online. I made a post like, does anyone know someone that does colonics? Because I was convinced, because I was breastfeeding her, that I must be like hurting her. So I go to this woman's office and I just posted on Facebook. Someone said, oh, this woman does. Going to her for that is what I think I'm going for. And in the back of her office, she has this little head chart of the access bars. And my whole body was like, what's that? And she said, oh, it's just this thing that gets you out of the way of you. Yeah. And I do classes or sessions, but if you want to come to a class, I do trades every week. And then you could, meet other people and get sessions for free. And I just was like, yeah, I just got a yes. I had no idea. I didn't know about access consciousness. Yeah. I didn't know I didn't think I knew I was looking for that. And then I ended up in my first class, and, my partner had also never run bars. We were brand new. He ran my bars first. And I got up from that like hour session having more peace in my world. Like I still do yoga, and I also used to meditate a lot. I don't meditate anymore because I get my bars run. And I was like, wow, it feels like I've meditated for like 12 hours. Although I'd never actually done it for 12 hours in a row. But it was this like completely different feeling. And I had 2 little girls at home in diapers, and I started waking up feeling like I was going on vacation. And I was like, whatever this is, I'm interested. And then in the class, in the bars class, they teach you about the clearing statement, one of the other access tools. And I thought it sounded crazy, but I was still like having postpartum depression that I couldn't get over from the birth. And she was about 6 months. I was doing yoga, I was meditating, nothing was helping. And I was like, I guess I'll try this clearing statement thing. It sounds crazy. And I remember driving past the hospital where she was born. And I still would either get like really upset or really sad. And I said, okay, everything this brings up, I destroyed, uncreate it, and then like ran the clearing statement, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. And I did that about 5 times driving my car. And literally everything I'd been trying to change for 6 months just went away. Like I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't upset. Like it still happened, but all of the charge went away. So that's how I discovered bars. And that's why I was immediately like, whatever this is, I'm going to explore more.
Oh, wow. Thank you for this energy. Wow. I call the bars or the access tools every time sorry. Every time when someone asks me about access consciousness, I say it's the game changer for me. It's the tools are the game changer for my life, for everything. And there are no words to describe bars or a foundation or the new being you class. Oh my God, that was beyond everything. I was what's that? Great. Oh my God. Thank you so much. When you think back, what was your most bars experience that you remembered?
Oh, well, wow. That one I mentioned. And then I think another one, can it be a session that I gave someone?
Yeah.
The other one that's most memorable was also when I had just learned to give bars in the class. And so I didn't think I knew how to do it very well. And I had a client come and she she hadn't left her house for 6 months because she was so depressed she couldn't leave the house. And she came to me for a session. And during it, I didn't feel anything, in my hands. And I thought, I don't know if that did anything, and she called me the next day from a store. She was out and about and she said, hey, I just wanted to thank you because not only am I out of the house, but I had moved to where I lived at the time where I met her. And she said, I moved to get away from an abusive relationship. And I still, even though I know it's been bad for me, I wake up thinking about him every day. And she goes, today was the first day that I didn't wake up thinking about him, and I'm out of the house. And after that, it was like one of those miracles where I was so grateful to get that feedback from her because she didn't have to call. And it was such an acknowledgement of it's not necessarily how the session feels for the person receiving or the person gifting. And it can create miracles, and it can also just feel really good. But those are probably the 2 most memorable gifting and receiving sessions that I've had.
Wow. Thanks to share this.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
So looking back approximately 10 years to your access starting point, what changed in your life from then to now?
Oh my gosh. So much, it's hard to put words. There probably isn't an area that hasn't changed. I would say one of the things that changed the most, money changed a lot. I was really, really in debt when I started Access, and really used the tool of like, if I choose this, does that match the future of that I desire to create? And so when I first started, actually, one of my first jobs with Access was doing social media, like doing the Facebook posts for Access and Dane and Gary. And I knew nothing about social media. And when I first started learning, I worked for some other facilitators, and they were paying me like a small hourly rate that was maybe $2 or $3 more than what I had to pay my babysitter for my kids. So it like didn't look like it made sense. And I just remember looking at it and going, does this match the energy though of a future? Like, am I creating something? And I just got a yes, and I just kept going. So money shifted dynamically. Overall, I've always been a pretty happy person, except that postpartum experience. But I've gotten more of a sense of that from a true lightness, like no matter what's going on around me situationally, like that has just grown. So much with, I would say, all of my relationships. I ended a marriage that was not happy, not fulfilling. And I think both of us are, for much happier now. My kids, I have a greater relationship with, kind of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's difficult. I fully understand. It's difficult to find the right words, what changed, at least over over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things for
You know,
sure.
but one of the things that I notice is, you know how Facebook will give you the, hey, here's what you were doing 6 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I see photos or videos of me, it's so apparent, like energetically, like that I don't know how to put words to that, but like that showing up in the world and being really present and really creating your life. I would say that's sort of the energy. I don't know how else to put it in words, but like so much change. I mean, I moved states. I live in a home that I love now. Like everything is different, but it comes from that energy of like, the bars is about receiving more.
Yeah.
So receiving more of you, receiving more like money, receiving more like joy, all of that. So your life just goes like, yeah.
And one of the reasons about this co-creation with the earth is, I see a lot of times we don't acknowledge how much change we have. And every time when we receive or gifting the bars, we choose something different, you know, this acknowledgement to myself, oh my God, I choose the change for me and for 350,000 people around me. And the energy when you are aware of, okay, now I'm receiving in this moment all the energies from the bar session now around the world. This is, whoa, you know, this is gifting and receiving with the earth, with all the people on it, and it's change. And we have to acknowledge this. This is so much, you know. Oh my God, sorry. This is
no, that's so, it's that interconnectedness, that, you know, what, that oneness that you really experience when you're getting your bars run. And every session's different, but it starts to open you up to that, and feeling really present when you walk on the earth, because you're present with the earth and the people and like all of consciousness and every molecule, the sidewalk, like the buildings, you know, it's everything. Yeah.
Wow,
also
awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the main intention of this Facebook group, of this bars around the world, is to bring the bars around the world, and also to support or provide support to, let's say, beginners in that way. Beginners to access, beginners to bars, or if they want to have information on access consciousness and bars. And that's why we created this interview session. So a lot of people here at the first bar session, Dane's story, how he came to the access bars, what was his life before, and so on. But we wanted to bring more people in, that they can talk about their situation before access, after access, and so on. And
they see the situation, the real, the people. That
it's not a story what someone is telling. It's really a live or recorded interview where someone is telling of his life. And
the change is so different among people. That's why this is really cool. You're talking to so many people, because I love hearing the stories, because it shows up differently for everybody. Yet it's always this like, wow, really? That changed for you too? It's so cool.
Yes.
Amazing. So is there any additional info you want to share with our viewers?
Or maybe something to give them, to say them?
Oh, wow. That's an open question. So, you know what, like, because when we were first talking about this interview, and this is just because you mentioned the earth, and when I said one of the things that changed the most for me after bars, I mean, well, all did, but was money. And one of the creations of Access Consciousness is this beautiful space in Costa Rica called El Lugar, which means the place, which another great starting point for newbies is the books. Like all of the books in Access Consciousness, if they're in your language and you can read them, are such a phenomenal starting point. Like that's how I started, got my bars run, and I read all the books and I used the tools to create the money to get to classes, because I didn't have any when I started. You know, even choosing a bars class was a huge choice at the time, you know, because I was a stay-at-home mom, I wasn't working. And when the idea of El Lugar, this, I mean, to call it an eco resort is an understatement of magnitude. It's this creation with and on the earth that is really special. And we had a chance to invest at the beginning. And I had no extra money that I was like, you know, and I found two friends and we were all going to split the investment. And I literally made that choice for the earth. Cause I asked that same question, like, if I choose this, what will the future be like for the earth, for other people, for myself? And it was so beautiful that I just said yes. And I started every time I had an extra, and I'm not kidding you, $100, like $500. I just kept giving it to the investment. Like, here you go, here's another. And I had it paid off. I have, again, no logical idea how this happened. It was truly that contribution from the earth and the bars and receiving and all that. In a couple years, and maybe even, but probably about 2 years, it was all paid off. And I was like, wow, it's magical. And it really was an example of when you actually ask the questions and the tools that you find in a lot of the books and there's so many free resources on Access YouTube, Dr. Dane here, like all the books that I really used them. And I just was like, okay, I kind of treated it like a giant experiment, because I'm a science teacher by background. So when I came across all of this, I was like, I will try anything and experiment and play with it and see if it works. And everything was so undeniably like different and greater that I just kept really like, you know, asking questions, running clearings, reading material, going to classes once I like created the money for them. And next week I get to go to El Lugar again to stay there for a week.
Oh my God. Wow.
I leave on Saturday. I'm so excited. Yeah. And if, you know, I'd love people to go check out the website. Right now, you can also even buy a raffle ticket, which you could win one of the casitas there if you're like the grand winner, but everybody else gets a free energetic synthesis of communion with Dr. Dane, another call with him. And then you get to see what that energy is when you contribute. Like I remember like giving that first $100 towards it, like what changes in your life. It's kind of can be a fun experiment just to go, okay, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to play with it. And when I was there a couple months ago, and it gave me more of a sense of me. Like I actually commented, I was like, wow, I didn't get my bars run the whole week. And I thought, wow, I don't even know if I would need my bars run if I were like here all the time. And I know that's possible to be anywhere on the planet. But it was such this gift of, it's same as what bars gives you, just this relaxation. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about anything. There's nothing I have to do. I just get to be like, really? So for me, it's kind of like being there is like getting a nonstop bar session. And tapping into the energy is like that. So, and if you can't get there, or, you know, read The Place, the book by Gary Douglas, is the energy of it. It's incredible.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I love it. I love it.
Love it.
I'm glad that you mentioned El Lugar. It was once we set the first stone for our project, the bars around the world, we were in the question, what could be added to this one, and El Lugar showed up. So that's why we also will mention the link for El Lugar on our intro video. We will also mention the accounts, because there is a possibility of donations on a volunteer base. So feel free, if it's just $1, €1, if it's 100, if it's 100,000, every single cent will help. And it's a contribution for sure.
Yeah. And this energy is such a contribution to it. You know, like it's that energy of this kind of peace and magic and of the bars. So it's so, I think like that, having that and just that energy involved in this creation and talking about access bars and in these really hearable conversations is such a gift to the planet, you know? So thank you guys for creating it.
Oh, thanks for
Thank you for your time.
Oh my God.
And your energy.
At this space. Thank you for this space. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. And thank you everybody watching.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.